Police are investigating possible hate crimes in at least 2 Canadian cities, and Arthi Pohl joins us now with more on that. So Arthi, walk us through this. What happened?
Well, you know, in just the past 24 hours, there have been some Canadians reporting incidents where they're witnessing the spread of either hate messaging or hate imagery, including the most recent case, which was discovered early this morning in our nation's capital, in Ottawa. And just a warning for some of our viewers that some of the images and the video that you may see during the course of this story may be disturbing or considered offensive. So let's start with this that was spray painted on the front door of a rabbi's home in Ottawa. You can see here, now we have cut out portions of this, but certainly you can see here the Nazi symbol, the swastika, and above it is written an anti-Semitic slur as well. This is what she found on her door early this morning. Now, she posted the images to Facebook and to social media. She has covered up those images, and we know that crews in Ottawa have also been working to get rid of those spray-painted symbols. But in her post that she shared this morning, she said, "This is what has been unleashed by the American president-elect and those that support him." We know she's also filed a complaint with Ottawa police. So that is in Ottawa. But moving towards Toronto now, there was a disturbing incident that occurred on a TTC streetcar, and this was at around 6 p.m. last night. Witnesses say a white man who you see here wearing a construction helmet was hurling racial slurs towards a person of color on this particular streetcar. Again, this video may be offensive to some of our viewers. We want to show you an excerpt of that.
He's not from around these towns. I can tell by his face.
It's not worth it. Don't say anything. Nothing. Not a thing.
Let's get off the bus.
No, you
don't. Let's get off.
Get a transfer. Get off.
Little
That's okay, great.
bro, don't worry. Jesus will save you, bro.
Get off the bus.
Read your little book. Read your little book, bro. Next time you punch me in the face, I promise, you're getting buried, G. You're getting buried.
Now, the witness who was on that streetcar said she yelled out to that particular individual as he got off the streetcar that he's a racist, and he replied to her, according to her account, "Go Trump." Now, there's one other disturbing incident to tell you about in Toronto, in a different part of the city. These posters were spotted being posted on poles around a certain area of the city, and you can see here they say, "Hey, white person." Then they go on to list a series of websites where individuals can get more information about the alt-right movement, a movement that can have some white supremacist, white nationalist leanings as well, a very anti-immigrant, anti-diversity sentiments listed on these posters. Toronto police also investigating to see whether or not this was a hate crime, these particular posters. But we know residents, again, in these neighborhoods are finding that link between the U.S. presidential election and, the eruption of these sorts of posters going up. Listen to this resident.
People are starting to realize what's going on, especially with this thing with the Trump going on and stuff. And I think he's just filled everybody's heads with all this immigration and about putting up the wall and everything else.
And certainly we knew that leading up to the election, a lot of minority groups expressed fear because of the rhetoric that was being said during that presidential campaign.
Well, Arthi, we know that hate groups aren't exactly running storefront operations. They thrive on remaining at least partially underground. So what do we know about the status of hate groups in the country right now?
You know, there's not a lot of data, John, to share in terms of how many real hate groups there are that are running in Canada. And partially, as you say, it's because they are underground. It may be just a group of 3 people operating out of a basement. But there was a study that was done earlier this year targeting data on these particular groups across the country. And it was a study that was done with universities in partnership with police as well. And here are some of the numbers that came out of that study. You can see that there are hate groups across the country, about 12 to 15 in British Columbia, Ontario, 18 to 20 groups, and the most groups that were discovered through this study in Quebec, 20 to 25 groups. Now, a lot of these groups have fewer than 5 members, but some have up to 100. In this report, in this study, it did suggest that hate crimes are being reported more frequently in Quebec. However, Toronto police have said that they've noted an 8% decrease from 2014 to 2015 of hate crimes, but they did say they saw a spike in crimes against Muslims in the community following the Paris attacks, John.
Thanks for this, Arthi.
You're welcome.